Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another rousing rendition of the Brethren Podcast. It is me, it is I, AJ. We are having another cocktail convo. If you're not familiar with it, it's the series where we just have interviews and casual conversation with great people. And today is no different. This is a friend of mine, an extremely close friend of mine. I've known her literally since what element preschool, preschool. So like my whole entire life. But now she is known as the media maven. Welcome to the Brethren Podcast, Miss Ashley Milan, also known as A Milli. What's good, sis?
What's up, brother? Thank you for that introduction. You're right. We have known each other since preschool, like Russell nursery days. Like it, I mean, we're both from the 4-6, so it's like, we go back. That's like over 30-something years.
Yeah, like legit. Legit. But yeah, we're just gonna have some casual conversation, but in typical Bridger fashion, we always like to propose a toast at the beginning of every episode. So I don't know if you got something or not. I didn't warn you about this, but this is just to a great conversation being had, knowledge being dropped, and crumbs being able to be picked up by those who need them. Cheers.
Hey, cheers. I got water. And no pun intended.
Look, stay hydrated.
But you didn't tell me. I would have got, my wine and stuff.
I forgot.
I wasn't warned.
I forgot to tell you. But yeah, we started communicating more like we used to. Mm-hmm. So we've caught up over the past couple of days and weeks even. But I want to start here. Mm-hmm. I want to start in 2017. We've known each other over 30 years, but in 2017, what I think, what you do right now is big, and it's bigger than what it is right now, and I know it. But you started it in 2017, mm-hmm. And I was thinking about it. I was like, dang, 2017 is when we started doing Area 21.
Yes.
And for a year, literally like right at about a year, you, me, and another friend of ours, Marissa, we hosted a podcast together.
We
Area
did.
21.
And that was the best podcast I have ever just been a part of. I have to say that. I've done another one, and it didn't last. Mm-hmm. So I would say the first one with you, Area 21, with Marissa, that was like the best ever.
And you know what was so cool about it? It was very organic.
Yeah.
Everybody, each one of us have our own individual personalities and styles. You were already what I would consider like you were qualified in terms of the arena of communication and broadcast, in a sense, because you were working at the radio station. You had been there for a couple of years. You're a communications major, and I think that was one of the big reasons, honestly, that I brought you in, because I think I heard you on a commercial. Like I heard your voice on a commercial, and I immediately knew. Because at that time, I didn't know you were recording commercials for the radio station. I just knew you worked there. And I was like, that's Ashley's voice. And I was like, dang, like she really got like a radio commercial voice, like just being able to kind of turn that on. Because I know you, but I'm like, dang, that's like a commercial voice. Like you can, but you got the range too, where, like obviously in Montgomery, where you were working, like the quote unquote urban radio station. So you had the voice, but then you also are, hosting, luncheons and brunches and, different events that, don't necessarily require the quote unquote urban talk. Mm-hmm. But we'll get into that too. But 2017, like we said, we were hosting Area 21, and we didn't really know what we wanted to do. Like we just know that we were all going to host the podcast together. And I think it took us a couple of episodes, maybe between 5 and 10 episodes, before we kind of really was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And you were like, I'm going to do the sip and sit. I'm going to do entertainment, gospel, because I don't even remember what we were really. I don't even remember what we were talking about. I don't even know if we initially, like the first couple episodes, and we like.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were just talking about headlines and just really shooting the shit.
Right.
But take us back to 2017. We're hosting this podcast. We're starting it, and where you really kind of formulated the idea to bring the Sip and Sit to life.
Well, the idea came from just always watching Entertainment Tonight, E! News, and I would come home after work. Even though E! News is no longer broadcasted now, at 6:00, that was my time to watch entertainment news, to get the white folks news and the black folks news. Like I loved it. And then of course at 6:30, Central Time, I would go to Entertainment Tonight. But I was always into celebrity news, that gossip. Is like, what new movies are coming out, who's marrying who's divorcing who. It was like, I gotta be in the know. I gotta have this business. I've always been like that person that was very inquisitive. It's like, I wonder why you dating this person, so I just wanted to know more. And so the Sip and Sit was born from that. I wanted to have something that is unique, because when I think of gossip, I think of tea and spilling the tea. I'm like, okay, we're gonna be sitting, okay, we're gonna sip this tea, but it's funny because I don't know if you remember, I think you kind of helped me with that name as well. And it was, yeah, I mean,
because
really
every time we recorded,
did.
I was in a space and a place, and I just started saying stuff. So I don't know.
You really did, and I was like, well, I want something unique. Like you, like, look, you always spilling tea. That's sipping, that's gossip. We sipping your tea, so I was like, okay, let me like do Sip and Sit. Something different.
Right.
We have like, you have people that do like Entertainment 411 or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. When I always heard gossip or tea, whether it was, people I knew or just, me talking celebrity news, I was always at a table with a drink in my hand. So that the wheel kind of turned. I'm like, okay, I'm a birth this baby and give life to it. So that's how the Sip and Sit really began.
I love it. And the thing that I love that I always loved about, like, even then, because obviously now the Sip and Sit has evolved into much more of a platform in itself, where now you're getting exposure yourself, and other people are getting exposure through you, through your interview styles, and that that also lends itself from your radio time too. But when we were doing the Sip and Sit on the podcast, it never felt TMZ-ish, like vindictive. It never felt malicious. It was always, you always made sure to make it lighthearted, even if it was something kind of scandalous. You always did a good job of just making it like it's really like Entertainment Tonight. And like not knowing that now, it makes a lot of sense, because back then everybody, I think, probably watched Entertainment Tonight. Their mama, your grandma, your auntie it was on the TV, like you said, right around about 6:30. But it was always like very upbeat and like very news-like. It wasn't like here go the gossip, the dirty, nasty gossip of the day. It was just, here's what's happening in Hollywood tonight, and it's like it was very respectable, and you continue that and you carry that. So I definitely appreciate that, because also you were the reason why I started paying attention to like gossip and stuff, because I wanted, like, when we were doing it, I wanted to be able to like engage and talk about stuff. So I had to pay attention. A lot of stuff you definitely would put me on to stuff, but I just want to be like, oh yeah, because we would always go around and be like, what's your opinions, or what do you think? And it's like, and still to this day, I think that's kind of one of the reasons why I just kind of get pulled into like ratchet TV, as they call it. Like every now and again, I just kind of get caught into it. I'm like, oh, they still go together.
Right.
I don't know why. I have to formulate an opinion now because it's rooted in that. But so let's fast forward a little bit more. I think a couple of years ago, not too long ago, You graduated from Alabama State University. It does not pay me to say that because it's another HBCU.
Bro, you know I love you. You know
I
I
know
love
it.
you.
I know it. Look. As long as it's not a certain time of year, I'll give them
Of
their
course.
props. I'll give y'all props as much as I have to. But 50 under 50, right there, and if we're thinking about the range of people that could be chosen and all, and they're only picking 50, you were one of those 50. Tell me a little bit about what that did in terms of validation, and be honest, because a lot of people and a lot of us, we get into this, where we, I don't need it. I don't need the recognition and all of that. And it's like, you may not, but when it comes, it's, we're grateful, we're humbled, we're appreciative, because it's like that moment where it's like, you know what? I didn't think nobody was paying attention. Appreciate that. But like, tell me what that really did, and when it happened for you.
Well, I would say, being nominated for 50 under 50 and receiving that award, to me, it was life-changing in my professional career, because I have to go back in 2020, right before the pandemic happened. I sent my information off, and then a month later, toward the end of March, I was laid off from, my job at the radio station. And I went through a depression. I went through, just a deep hole. And I can share this now because I'm still climbing my way out of that hole. But during that time, I didn't realize, like, wow, I did send my stuff off. What if they don't pick me now that I have gotten put on furlough? I don't know when I'm returning to work. So I had a little bit of the imposter syndrome. I felt like, if I don't still have this position, why would they pick me? Why would I be chosen for this honor? And I had to tell myself, working in the entertainment industry is very hard, but you have to be your biggest cheerleader. So that was something that I had to learn. Of course, all of 2020, I'm still learning that now. But when I was chosen, I was really surprised. And I think in my interview, I was like, "Are you sure you picking me?" And I was completely honest in my interview, about being laid off, and it's like they looked past that. They saw my my value, my influence, especially working in the community. And that was the main thing. Everything that I've done, for the station and for the city of Montgomery, just, how my personality is, and just taking care of so many wonderful people that I've met along this journey. It kind of was rewarding. Like, all the fruits of my labor are now being seen, because I have often felt that the work that I've done for so many years in radio has always been gone overlooked. And I work hard, and it's not because of the recognition. I just, want that unity, I guess, or that, that respect. And that's something that I was not getting while working at the station. And so just being able to have this honor, and it was very incredible. And the networking, being a part of this prestigious group, it does something for me, because now it's like, hey, I have an idea. Let's put our heads together. Maybe we can collaborate, and we can do something at Alabama State University, or do something for the city of Montgomery and surrounding areas. So that's how my mind is now. But it has been a blessing when I thought that I wasn't good enough to be a part of this group.
That's interesting to hear, because I didn't know those two things coincided in time. But me and you have talked plenty of times, and I've always told you that where you've always had a voice, and for those who know you, for those who don't know you, you're not super tall. You're one of the shortest people I
short,
know.
okay?
You know, you and I think maybe Sean Tate, shout out to Sean, y'all, y'all neck and neck for being short, but you've always had a big voice. You've always been the person who can get up in front of a group and speak. And this has been, long, like, for the past 30 years. Like, you've been doing this since we were little. Like, not even, this didn't happen in like middle school or high school. It was before then that you were always the one who would, get up, speak in programs, all kinds of events, from church to school, outside of that. So to see you now where you, obviously the podcast ended and the Sip and Sit, when did you come up with the idea of, basically transitioning it, where at first it was like entertainment based? I'm gonna tell you about some stuff that I know. And, obviously there were other people there to kind of, chat and convo with, to now you are mainly interview based, and now you're getting people in, across entertainment, communication, business, all of these different walks of life, and interviewing them, mostly entertainment, because you've had some very big people on, you've had some, some local people, starting out people. So when did you really formulate that idea to say, you know what, all right, I'm gonna keep this going, and this is the route that I'm gonna take it to?
It actually happened last year. Well, toward the end of 2020, Clubhouse was very, very popular and very big. And I literally would stay on Clubhouse just networking with people. I would be on there like all night, just listening to people, getting to know more people, especially in the industry, people I have come across and they have come across me. And so it was like a getting to know you basis. And the more people I started connecting with, like people up your way, like NYC or LA, they were already established journalists, like worked for, TMZ, BET, Essence, having bylines like on so many websites and entertainment sites or whatever. And that made the connection. So one of the journalists out of New York, shout out to Ty Cole, he said, hey, Milli, I love coming to your rooms where we talk about, journalism and radio and TV. We need to do something. We need to collaborate. And I said, yeah, like, let's do it. And we started doing stuff on Instagram Live. And we were doing entertainment news and all that good stuff for a couple of months, like in the spring up until like maybe the beginning of summer or the middle of summer. And they kind of, had to back out because they had other obligations. I understood that they're established. They're out in LA, New York, and I get it. Like, I'm down here in the South, so I'm not where all the action is as far as, events and entertainment, celebrities. I get that. So I said, you know what? I don't want to lose this voice that I have again. I need to turn it up a notch. I still want to do entertainment news, but I want to do more interviews. I want to make it a talk show, because that has always been my dream to have, to be the next Oprah, to be, all of these great women that have these talk shows now. And I'm not just saying just Black women. I'm looking at like Kelly Clarkson or Drew Barrymore, and I'm watching all these shows. And of course, my girl Tamron Hall. I'm watching all of these shows, and I'm like, I can do that. I could not do it at the station because my boss told me, and it still gets to me sometimes, that when I was marketing director, he would say, well, you'll have your own show one day, but you need to learn your place as promotions director. And when he said that, that kind of like a blow, and it stuck with me. So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna prove to anybody that I have this voice, that I have what it takes to have a show, a live show on Instagram. I'm going to do this because you never know where this could lead you. You got to start somewhere to get to where you want to go. So that was the catapult for me to, okay, rebrand Sip and Sit. Let's do a more interview style. And that's when I started the rebranding. And in September, no, it wasn't September. It was like July, I did like a trial run. And then really in September, that's when everything started popping off. Like I was trying to be consistent every week, you know, interviewing so many people. So 2021 was that push, that nudge that I had for me to rebrand Sip and Sit and make it more interview style.
Yeah, and once you did that, you really went hard, like head down, focused, and was knocking them out left and right. I was just like, wow. To the point where I was like, did Ashley like go interview 100 people and just save it, and now she's just released them? Because it was just, they were coming out, they were consistent, and like I said, you've had a lot of notable people on. You know, you had Tyrese on. Who else did you have on besides Tyrese? Tyrese is the first one that comes to mind because I think it was before you had this breakdown.
I've had James Worthy, producer, R&B singer. I've had Blasian Baby Lola. She is a YouTuber, and also she's the girlfriend of Zaire Wade. So I've had her. I've had so many local people that we know of that have businesses and that are really trying to get themselves out there. And that was my main thing. And if I see you have a talent, you have a gift, you have a business, and you just need a little bit of nudge, because if this is your calling, this is your passion, you never know when you make it big, you're going to be in the press, you're going to be doing that. So why not start here? You know, why not start here? So I've had those notable people. I've had Leah Harris, Lace by Leah, all of that good stuff. I mean, I just had some wonderful people, and I'm not stopping. Like I'm gonna continue to elevate, because this is just the beginning of many, many more to come.
Most definitely. And speaking of that, it is International Women's Month.
Yes.
And you've been your real name to me forever, and you've been A Milli to me for some years now. And you've added a new title on, which I love it. I told you I love the new title. I love it. And I think you kind of gonna run with it for this month, but you've been named the media maven. I love it because it's like it's kind of dark, but it's like intriguingly dark. Like and this being International Women's Month, I think I was talking with you, I was like, lean into it, and you've already kicked off the month with like one great interview. I know another one's lined up with up and coming women, powerful women in the entertainment, the communication space. So just tell us a little bit about what it is you plan to do for this month. And in terms of being a woman in the space, you kind of already hinted at it earlier, where you had a boss who basically told you, like, learn your place, which especially being a woman and a Black woman in a corporate setting, because you worked for a radio station that was owned by one of the conglomerates that owns every radio station in America. So there, it's where it almost feels like you hit a ceiling. And in terms of that, where you end up getting laid off, but then you get this validation from a home source, like a familiar place where it's local, it's your alma mater that says, you know what, we've been paying attention to you. You had, like you said, it validated your worth and your value. But just talk about, what you plan to do this month in terms of International Women's Month. And just, the importance of spotlighting people like you, women of color, Black women in that space, because obviously you're going to run into the bull.
I feel like, creating Media Mavens Month is really to showcase women that are in media, that are in this field, because we don't get a lot of love. If you're a part of the entertainment industry, this is a male-dominated field, whether you work in radio, television, if you're an artist. And I felt like no one sees the Black girls. To me, no one sees how hard we work. No one sees how hard we work behind the scenes to make our stations, look like it's perfect. I always would work behind the scenes. And I will always say, you know what, you are the Beyonce in promotions. You are the Olivia Pope from Scandal of promotions. And I see how hard women work in this field. It has been long days, you coming home to your significant other, your family, and you're just tired. And nobody was talking about it. Nobody I saw, and I'm speaking for myself and other women that I've talked to, we get so disrespected, especially in the media. We get so disrespected if we are working alongside men in this media industry. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of it. I want to show these women in this light so you can understand their journey of how they got to where they are and how they are going to continue to elevate in this field, because we do matter. We should get that respect. We have worked hard. We still work hard to do what we love to do. And this is not a walk in the park. This is not like no McDonald's, no Burger King. Like, we are really out here grinding for a spot. Like, you have to, I guess in a sense, I wanted women to come to my table. I want women to say, hey, it's cool to sit here. We don't have to compete. We don't have to do all of this. It's all love. They over there, whereas men or other women that feel like you got to compete with them. No, my table is for everybody. We can collaborate. We can eat. And I wanted to showcase these amazing women that work hard wherever they are in this world. Like, we literally work hard, and I wanted people to know their journey, to see the work that they put in for so many years, whether they're in school or whether they started during the pandemic or even before that. We put in the work, and I did just wanted to show them some love.
Definitely. And I appreciate you for doing it, because it sparked my well, it was part of a plan too, where I had a conversation with my co-host where we were like, it's International Women's Month. Let's focus on only doing cocktail convos with women this month. Which, I mean, it's not like we haven't had women on before, but we just specifically this month, we just want all women on it. We want to do more, and than we typically do in a month's time, just because, like you said, we need to shine the light on women and Black women in general, because of people like your old boss who say things like, hey, learn your place. And it's like, if I learn my place here, am I able to go somewhere else? Because if I've learned this, is this where you want me to stay? And that's what you're telling me. And now I've hit this glass ceiling. So definitely being able to shine light on those, like you said, those behind the scenes struggles that people don't see.
Yes.
Because Black women in general and Black people do a great job of making things seem like it's okay.
Yes. And that's how I will say for myself, that's how I was doing. Like, it's like the facade, like I could put it on the face, but internally dealing with a lot, whether it was on my job or away from my job, it was a lot. We work hard for you guys to hear certain things that are on the radio, to make the imaging sound right, to make every event go off without a hitch. We Black women, we do all of that. And of course, when I was working in at those 3 stations, I was a one-woman show. So it was a lot of pressure on me to make sure everything was in tip-top shape, because of course, working in corporate America, everybody's watching what you do. A little slip up, oh no, you slipping up, can you do your job or not? So it's like you had to be on your P's and Q's each and every time.
And it's very numbers driven too. So if the numbers ain't adding up, it don't care. They don't care. You could be busting your butt, but if the numbers ain't coming, then it's still like, all right, well, Yeah, you were doing you were doing a lot, and I forgot that it's 3 stations in one pretty much. So you're doing the same. You were doing, you know, I hear your voice on the commercial, I hear your voice doing traffic, and then I hear you live somewhere doing a remote. Yeah, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah,
Because
and
then you know it's limited numbers too.
Social media, not to mention being social media manager, being digital content manager, like literally constructing the websites, making sure bugs and like every little thing, the behind the scenes stuff, and me having 2 jobs in one.
Propping it up.
And 3 jobs if I was live on a remote and I had to do it because we lost a lot of people.
Yeah, three jobs times 3. 3 times 3, you got like 9 jobs. Because you're doing everything for each station.
Right. And they still didn't see how much, you know, you brought to the station. And even now I would say this. I have my triggers some days when I see stuff and it's like, you know, I hate that, you know, the pandemic came and I hate to have been, you know, put on furlough and then laid off, because when you work at something, when you nurtured it, it's like, you know, sometimes our jobs, if we don't have, you know, if we're not married or had kids, like me, my job was my baby. So that was something I nurtured from the ground up.
But it's also, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's also important to note that you were doing something that you are naturally good at, and something that I know and I believe that you are passionate and you love, because you did it. That was the other thing. You would do what you had to do at work and then leave work and come do it with us again. And we never got paid for it. It was just because it was passionate and you had a vision of wanting to build something. So that's important to know, because a lot of people's jobs is like they busting their ass just because, hey, you know, you got to. Some folks, but you were doing it because you genuinely loved what you were doing. And so I commend you for that in itself. But I definitely understand what you're saying, where it's like you put basically your all into it, and someone else is able to make a decision where they take it from you. It's like they you know, they took your child from you, and there is no recourse to get it back, you know, unless you go. And then even if you come back, it would not be the same. It wouldn't.
And it's so funny because someone asked me, would I ever go back? And I kind of looked at them like, are you for real? Like, if I were to go back, I would have to own the station. I would have to own that station. And not saying, you know, never say never, but for me, where I am in my life, where I want to be in my life, I can't go backwards. I've done that so many times. I've left that job and then I came back. I left the job and came back and then got forced out. So I don't want to go back. I feel like I'm too old to go back.
Right.
You know, not saying I'm too old, like in a sense, but I'm just too old to go backtrack in the past. I have to continue to move forward. And, you know, the only way you'll get me back is if I own the station. Okay. So
that makes perfect sense. And I could kind of figure that would probably be the like your opinion. I just randomly, I'm trying to catch myself, because I'm sitting here, because when I talk to certain people like you, like my friends and family, when we say something, I'm that person. I'm like, okay, well, let's, you know, I don't believe dreams and visions are far-fetched, because everybody who knows me know that I talk, you know, way above the clouds. And, you know, so that way, if I land in the top of the trees, I'm still off the ground and I'm cool. But there's a radio station in Alabama, FM, for sale right now for $89,000. Just to put just to put that in your space, in your place. Expenses are less than $300 a month. That includes the studio rent, has full studio and equipment, transmitter and all. So, you know, I'm just putting that into your atmosphere, and we'll talk offline. We'll talk offline, because, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
things are very doable.
That would be doable, and that would be a great investment.
And
And
I
almost
honestly see
burned
you
up.
being one of those people because, like I said, you've been in this space in this place for years.
Mhm,
This is
mhm,
definitely where you belong. This is definitely where
mhm,
where you want to be. Because
mhm.
we didn't go all into your past, but you started off as a theater major and switched
Yeah.
over to communications,
Mhm,
which
mhm,
that's very you're just specifically saying this is what I want to do. I want to be able to better
mhm,
communicate because you, like I said, you were already doing it.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
so I'm just glad to be a person that knows you on this journey, to be a small blip on the timeline of your journey. And thank you for giving me some time to come on and chat with me on the Brethren Podcast Cocktail Convo. So, where can people find you online right now?
Okay, so online you can find me on Facebook at Ashley Milan. And I gotta tell y'all, okay, so for years people used to call me millionaire and all that stuff, million. It's Milan, okay? Think about the city of Italy.
Millon.
Millon. Now, when I get married, whoever I married, then we're gonna change that last name. But you can find me on Facebook at Ashley, Ashley. Last name Milan, Millon. You can follow me on Instagram at Amarie, AMARIE_2 and the letter U. And I don't be on Snapchat like that. But and I don't really have Twitter, but I need to make one. So that's something I need to get back into. But those are the two that I mostly use a lot, Instagram and Facebook, but more so Instagram. But yeah, you guys can follow me on there. Please follow me
Most
on
definitely. Follow her at Amarie_2U, AMARIE_2U, and we'll put the link in the description. And definitely also, make sure to follow, because the Sip and Sit goes on IG Live just about every week. Like
Yes.
it just about every week.
Yes.
It's been very rare that a week ain't went by that Milli ain't
Mhm.
got somebody in that, in that chair having a conversation. So definitely follow. Like I said, you'll be put on to a lot of people, great conversations. I love your interview style. We've done it a couple of times together in Area 21. And just your style and your demeanor, the way that you're always upbeat. Like I said, you've always been this person. And I'm just happy that, more and more people are getting to experience your personality, because it's always been 100. So I definitely appreciate you. I love you.
Love you, bro. Thank you so much.
The other thing is, if anybody is local in the area, you can catch Milli hosting Thursdays Unplugged at the BB Kings in the Montgomery Casino. If you're from around the way, it's called Doja Road.
Yes.
Tallapoosa, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You can find her hosting Thursdays Unplugged for the next 2 months right now. Is every
3
Thursday.
Months.
Now 3 months.
It's
3 months now. It's 3 months. They've added May. Yesterday it was 2. Look, yesterday's price is not today's price. So, y'all need to get in at this level now, so that you can say you've been following and listening for years, because, we looking at radio stations right now, 89 racks. We might start a Patreon and y'all can be part owners in it. You never know what we do here at Brethren, and what we do with our family is always going to be big things. So we appreciate y'all for listening. If you made it this far, this episode was sponsored once again by LaFlight 87. Get you some, LaFlight87.com. Shout out to my illustrious co-host, Dr. Ajamu Loving, PhD, CFP, at Dr. Ajamu Loving on Instagram, and Mr. Deshrin Wells of D Wells Consulting. You can catch him at Empower, Engage, Execute on Instagram. AJ, you can find me at 248MMBB. Every now and again, I'll slip up and give out my personal one, and sometimes I don't know what it is, but we'll intertwine what we need to. But once again, this is a cheers. This was a great conversation. I love you, sis. Cheers. And thank y'all for listening. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. We love y'all. Y'all have a good night.